Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing version 2 of my Vynset deck list, kind of giving you thoughts on the hero, things that I've learned so quickly already from playing the hero at a very good rate, and then just kind of give you my thoughts on a more fine-tuned list that hopefully can help you out. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoy your stay. Thank you so much for even clicking on the video. If you're a long-standing supporter, as always, y'all are amazing. Keep it up. This has been really fun for me with this new set so far. The set's actually been more fun than I thought it was going to be, and I can say that like without any reservations. But yeah, we'll get right into it. This is version 1 of my deck list for Vynset. And the way I build decks, and for anyone that watches my channel long-term, you got to understand this with me. Some people build decks like around a core card. Some like a core concept. Some people build decks around like a concept of the hero. Some people build decks for aggro, control, whatever it may be. Most people build it off of a core concept and then they add on in increments, right? What I basically do is it's found the way I've built decks best in Flesh and Blood specifically is I just try to have cards that seem like they work. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like cards that fit in with the archetype of the hero. They may not all fit in with each other, but they fit in with the hero. And then what I do is I bracket, right? So I throw all 60 cards out there, notionally. And then I'm like, okay, after playing this, all these cards individually seem like they work with the hero and they kind of work together. Okay, I don't like that card, shave that. And then I start to incrementally go backwards almost in a good way. So like I shave off. That's just the way I do it. I'm more of a like throw it all on the refrigerator wall, see what sticks, then slowly take it off, put something else on it. That's just how I deck build, and it works for me. So because of that, my version 1 lists are a little bit normally like really kind of just normal, and then they get a lot better, a lot quicker because of the way I do it. I don't know. It's just how I do it. So on my first list, you'll see stuff. We're going to talk about some stuff I changed. So this is my first list. So some of the big cards I changed were like Blue Deathly Whale. I took out Howl from Beyond. I took out... Or this is my second list. Sorry, is this my second? No, this is my first list. I took out Howl from Beyond. It's pretty similar. That's why I took out Blue Deathly Whale. I took out Unhallowed Rites, Shadow of Ursa, and Spellblade Assault. Those are like the main things I kind of shaved off, and then Flail of Agony. And I ended up on this list. So this list, when it comes to Vynset, there's a couple things I've learned pretty quickly. One, there's 2 types of Vynset in my opinion. There's a low the ground list that plays similar to Chain, where you're looking at 0 cost blood deck cards. You're looking at very low, like all 0 cost Ravenous Rabbles, Bounty Demigons, Rift Binds. You're looking at all 2 cost Rune Gates to try to prevent from doing anything that costs something, right? You're playing very low the ground. You're using Art of War to be able to banish even more cards and have 2 attack hands and stuff like that. And that list can work. And for all you watching this video, you're probably like, hey, Dylan, where's the red line Vynset list you talked about in the Discord? And for me, I'm still like tinkering with that list, not because I'm trying to hide it or it's secret tech, but because I want to make sure it's like the most refined it can be before I put out that version of the list. And then you have this version, which still operates lower to the ground if you can have rune chant cost reduction from Rune Gate, but it's more of a go tall list because the one thing you have to ask yourself when you're playing this deck competitively is it better than Viserai? Why would I play this deck over Viserai? Now, if you just love the deck, you love the archetype, you love the hero Vynset, you love what she does and like her story and stuff, then that's fine. But if you're wanting to play this deck competitively, you need to ask yourself, is this better than Viserai? And what makes it better than Viserai? And how do I play into that? So for me, my first answer to that question was, Viserai's normal play pattern, let's just say it how it is, it normally is Mauve Skies, pitch, play attack, Rosetta, right? There can be better turns than that, but that's typically what it is. Most of your attacks in Viserai are around 4 power, 3 to 4 power. You have Amplify the Arknight, which is 6, and you have a couple other attacks that can be more, but for the most part, 4 is what you're sitting at, right? Meet and greets, Spellblade Assault, Spellblade Strikes, Consuming Volition. You have all these different, even if you just look through the Runeblade cards real fast, like you have Amplify the Arknight's a big one, Rune Flash is a big one, right? Some people are using Draw in the Dark Dimension, Meet and Greet is a big one. The only one that's above 4 really is Shrill of Skullform and Amplify the Arknight. Those are the biggest ones, right? There are other ones, but those are the ones you typically see. So your Mauve Sky turns, unless you're playing Shrill or Amplify, typically the opponent only has to block 4 to prevent those Rune Chant on hits. Because like Viscerai, Vynset doesn't have a ton of on hits. You could run stuff like Consuming Volition or whatever, but for the most part, it's sheer damage. She does have some really good on hits with like Widespread Ruin and Widespread Annihilation, which are fantastic on hits, and even Deathly Wail, which talks about Rune Chant generation. However, most of the time you're telling your opponent, if you don't block me, I'm just going to make more damage, which is a good on hit. So all I have to say, I want to make my Mauve Sky turns more freaking annoying, right? Because one thing that Vynset has that Vis doesn't have is if you have 2 rune chants, her 6 powers are free. It's almost like having a constant Amplify the Arknight that's completely reduced, right? And you don't have to pitch that blue in order to play that 6 cost, which allows you to play very efficient hands. And also, when you pump those attacks with cards like Envelop the Darkness, Shadow Puppetry, Runic Reckoning, it allows you to even make them more annoying when it comes to blocking them out. So now if they're staring, if you play, if you banish a 2-cost Rune Gate like Deathly Delight, you pitch a blue or use your tunic counter to play Envelop in Darkness. You play Mauve Skies. All of a sudden, you're playing a 9-power Deathly Delight, right? Is it 9? Yeah, 8-power Deathly Delight with 2 Rune Chants on it. On hit, create more Rune Chants, which again is a little bit more scary typically than Viscerai. And if you have Rune Chants at the start of your turn, you have ways to make more Rune Chants more efficiently, then those Mauve Sky turns become hard to block out. And you can still have turns with Revel and Runeblood and like other ones, to make it a little bit more scary. So my main play pattern with Vynset is to try to use 2-cost Rune Gate, because 2-cost Rune Gates, making 2 Rune Chants a turn with Vynset is not hard. You can banish a card and pitch for Grasp the Arknight. There's your 2 Rune Chants. Now you play it for 6, so it's a 2-card hand for 8, essentially with the 2 Rune Chants. You can make Rune Chants through Envelop in Darkness, Oath the Arknight. You can make Rune Chants through, obviously, your Mauve Sky hits. If you want to hold and not use Rosetta that previous turn, you start the turn with more Rune Chants. You have stuff like Runeblood Incantation and Read the Runes that can do it. So you have ways of getting 2 Rune Chants pretty consistently. Getting 3 Rune Chants requires a little bit of legwork. It really does. Like, the best way in my list at least, that I have to do, so let's say I have Blue Oath, or a blue. I have Oath the Arknight, Envelop in Darkness, and a 2-cost Rune Gate. I'll banish 2-cost Rune Gate, make a Rune Chant, pitch, or let's say a 3-cost Rune Gate, sorry, like Deathly Wail. So I banish Deathly Wail, make a Rune Chant, I pitch my blue, play Envelop in Darkness, make another Rune Chant, and then I use my last 2 resources to play Oath the Arknight to make another Rune Chant, and then I play Deathly Wail for free, quote, quote, for +6, right? So Deathly Wail is coming in for 12 with 3 Rune Chants. And because I played this, I'm going to pay a life, so I'm automatically going to make a Rune Chant because I'm one of the heroes that lost life its turn from Deathly Wail's on damage ability. And then they're probably not going to block out something out of that freaking 15 damage I just threw at them. So a 15 damage 4-card hand isn't too bad. It's pretty good, right? That's kind of one of the easiest ways to make it. But making those 3 Rune Chants, unless you use like Vexing Quill Hand or read the runes before your turn, or you start with a Runeblood Incantation to where you can make 1 from this, 1 from Banish, 1 from Envelop, whatever it may be. Getting 3, it's not impossible by any means, but it takes more work. And so 3 is a little bit less intuitive when it comes to making Rune Chants. So I wanted to stick with the 2 costs because the 2 costs are consistently free and it consistently works, and it's just better in my opinion. So I took out the only 3-cost Rune Gates I have in my deck are Deathly Wail Red because it's just too good, being able to make Rune Chants on damage, and then Widespread Annihilation because again it's too good. They may literally have to banish a card from their hand. So I really enjoy making them do that. So overall, I like doing this. And what I like doing with Widespread Annihilation even is like using my whole hand, so the banish a card from my hand doesn't apply to me, but I still lose life or whatever to make sure something else can have the on hit. It doesn't even have to do that, but there's some cool interactions with that. But overall, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play as 2 costs for free, and I'm trying to pump them. Because in my opinion, some people will say that it's below rate, but it's really not. Because if you make a rune chant and then you make another rune chant another way and you pump it, it's like the normal turn of a blue envelop in darkness, or not even that. Let's just say a blue and a 2-cost rune gate. You banish the rune gate, you make a rune chant, you pitch to grasp the Arknight, and this is why I'm going to talk about Grass versus Vexing Quillhand here in a second. Pitch to grasp the Arknight, make a rune chant, then you play your 2 costs for free, and it's basically a 2 for 8, right? Now, I enjoy that, and I think that that's a good play line. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do 8 to 12 damage a turn, typically with some minor on hits, and then my good turns are 15 to 20 damage. I've gotten up to 20 plus damage with this deck pretty easily, especially when you set up with an Arsenal or something like that, with like Swarming Gloomveil, or setting up with Revel in your Arsenal is amazing target for that. But that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I add in Bounding Demigod just because it's too good. Like, you banish this, and then it's basically going to come in for 4 every time, and it could get buffed by Runic Reckoning or Shadow Puppetry, so that's really good. And yeah, so a couple choices I made. I'm keeping Oath the Arknight. It's just too good. Having a blue, a Runegate card, and Oath the Arknight is just fantastic. Like, you attack for basically 10 damage with an on hit. And when you couple this with Mob Skies, it gets even really more annoying, right? Being able to like play banish Deathly Delight, pitch a blue to play Oath the Arknight, play Mob Skies, still have 1 resource floating, play out the 2-cost Runegate for free, like 8 with an on hit of Mob Skies, and then you can choose the Rosetta or not, and that's just a really good way of doing it. The other thing I had to choose was Flail of Agony. So I didn't put Rosetta in the list because I wanted to try to make more rune chants with Flail or Nebula Blade, but I think until Rosetta goes away, and as long as you have Mob Skies in your deck with this deck, you have to run Rosetta. It's just too good value. You can't ignore it. It's better value than maybe making 1 rune chant every couple turns with Flail, and Rosetta's just going to be in there. That was kind of first thing for me. Another kind of change was Husk. I'm experimenting with no Husk right now. Husk is very good. It works really good against a lot of heroes, and it's amazing equipment. But Tunic is so good in this deck because it allows you to do play lines you normally wouldn't be able to play. Like, one of the easiest ones I can think of is, like, let's say you have, again, any 2-cost Runegate. I'm just going to keep using Deathly Delight. You have Deathly Delight in your hand and Envelop in Darkness. You banish Deathly Delight to make a rune chant, and you only have Envelop in Darkness left in your hand. If you're on Tunic counter, you use your Tunic counter, play Envelop in Darkness, and then you play Deathly Delight. So you just did a 2-card hand for 10, right? Because Deathly Delight's going to come in for 8, and you made 2 rune chants. You just did a 2-card hand for 10, and that's insane value. Insane value. So Tunic's really important to do 2-card hands like that. It really, really does help. Or even on, let's just say, hands where you can't set up properly, or you can't play out everything properly. Even bad hands, like hands where, like, Runeblood Incantation and Deathly Delight. Let's say for some reason there's the last 2 I have. I can at least banish the Deathly Delight, make a rune chant, play this off of Tunic, and set up for next turn. Yes, I take 1 Blood Debt, but in a normal turn, you would just had an Arsenal Incantation, which isn't that bad, but I'd rather just play it out. So it has some really good use cases that allow you to play out turns you wouldn't be able to play out, and it allows you to play off Rosetta. Like, when you've used up all your resources, you can just use Tunic to Rosetta, and it's really good. So Tunic has been really useful. I actually put Dyadic Carapace in the side as well because Husk is really good, and you could put Husk in here as well. I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit. But the 3 block and being able to block 2 breakpoints and have the natural AB2 in your list is just really nice. And I think if you run Tunic in your list, you're going to have to pick between Husk or this. And I picked this because it's still a 3 block, and it still allows me to have natural AB2. So I have natural, like, literally have AB2, AB3, AB4 in my deck just naturally because I want to run Vexing in there as well. And so just really nice for that. But Husk could honestly go here. So that was my other decision point. And my last major change is picking between Grasp the Arknight and Vexing Quillhand. So some people I've already talked to in the Discord, and like I've heard around already, saying that Grasp is bad value because you'll banish a 2-cost Runegate, and then you pitch 3 to Grasp. And some people are like, I don't want to pitch a whole card just so I can play my 2-cost. That's bad value. I really don't think it's that bad of value. I disagree, because you're like, think about Reinar, right? Think about Swing Big and how much value that is off a 2-card hand. 2 for 8 swinging at you. Like, I just block for 6, and now I'm going to swing 8 at you. That's literally what you're doing with this deck. When you do Grasp, if you banish a Deathly Delight and you pitch a blue for another Rune Chant so you can play Deathly Delight from banish, you're basically swinging 2 for 8, right? Like, you're doing a 2-card hand, or when I say 2 for 8, I mean 2-card hand. It's a 2-card hand for 8 damage, or 2 resources essentially for 8 damage, right? 3 resources, but you know, it does have to be a blue, so it's not a true 2 for 8 like Swing Big is, because it's 2 resources, but it's a 2-card hand for 8, so it's pretty good. And most of the time, I'm trying to get above a 2 for 6 value on my hands, and that's what happens with this deck. In the sideboard, Read the Runes is for the slower matchups. I think some decks are going to try to fatigue you, and I think you're going to need Read the Runes in order to like really stack and get ready for a turn, especially when I have Oblivion in the main board solely for like big fatigue matchups where I can start getting incantations out on the field, and I can just put this in Arsenal and hold it if it's a deck that doesn't challenge my Arsenal. If they do challenge my Arsenal, I just cycle it and wait, try to build 6 Rune Chants and then play it out. Command and Conquer is the obvious one. Reduce the Rune Chant. It's the best D-react you have, because you can pitch a card, block for 4, make a Rune Chant, or potentially don't pitch at all, make 2 Rune Chants, start your turn with 1 or 2 Rune Chants, which for Vynset is amazing, and go from there. Widespread Destructions for Lexi. It banishes cards from their arsenal, which is really nice. Vexing Quill Hand I have in, obviously, for the AB, but I have it also in for the fast matchups. I think matchups like Fi and Katsu, you're going to actually have to play Vexing Quill Hand, because you're going to want to get off this card and this card as whenever you get it. Whenever you see it, you want to use it, right? And because this makes 2 Rune Chants, being able, like, especially for Deathly Will, being able to banish Deathly Will for a Rune Chant, pop Vexing Quill Hand, and then play this for free is super nice, especially if you have a pump with it, to then make Rune Chants for your next turn and be able to keep that tempo. You need to be able to do that. And also Widespread Annihilation, being able to play that like on command with that is really nice. And so I value being able to race them down, and you can do that a little bit better with Vexing Quill Hand. So I do put that in for the fast matchups. For Tunic, I'm putting that in pretty much against everyone that I don't require a ton of block from. If I'm playing like Guardian or even Prism or someone where I need a little bit more block, or Warrior, I'll use this. Everything else is Tunic right now, and I'm still experimenting with Husk. I just really like the 3 block out of this and be able to block multiple breakpoints, because some decks like Husk just doesn't really do anything, right? It really doesn't, because they're not going that high for 6 like value. You're not getting the full 6 value in the block a lot of times with some of those decks. Some you are, some you aren't. It all depends. Creepers, too good. I've thought about doing like something like Snaps if I did like a really low to the ground list, or like Suckless Suede Hides. But Creeper is just too good, especially off of stuff like Read the Runes, stuff like Revel and Rune Blood, being able to play those, like being able to do even stuff like, you know, I've had hands where I started with a blue, Envelopment Darkness, a 2-cost, and Revel. So you have no true go again, but being able to banish this, pitch 1 for Envelopment Darkness, make 2 Rune Chants total, play out the Deathly Delight for 8, no go again, 8 and 2, and then being able to use my second resource to play Revel and then Rosetta. Just little interactions like that is very, very common, and it's not too hard to pull off. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the list. It's in a good spot. I've been doing pretty well with it. Like, I'm over 50% on all my matchups. Not like destroying people by any means. I lose some, I win some, but the list is already performing a lot better. So let me know what you think of it. I think it's a lot cleaner list than the first one. I think I'm learning a lot, and I'll keep giving you versions of this list as time goes on. Hopefully by the time the set releases, I've given you like 3 or 4 versions. So a really, really tuned list that you can start with day 1. That's my goal. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If not me, go to Nerd Flesh Blood Creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.